Welcome back to Awakening Reformation, where Reformation awakens now. My name is Grant, and joined with me is my beautiful wife, Ericha, the weaker vessel.
Hello, everyone.
If you want to get to know more about us, we're part of Reformed Rebel Network. Check us out on social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast feed. And if you like the content, please share it with your friends and comment and let us know what you think. We really appreciate it. We are in the middle, we're about to launch a table in the wilderness. So go check out the intro video that we posted this week. Shouldn't be hard to find. And you can read in the description what that project is going to be about. And essentially, it's a buildup of anticipation to Easter.
Yeah, it's like an Easter Advent.
Exactly. We do this big thing of Advent for Christmas every year. Mm-hmm. And rather than be solemn and all of that for Lent, we like to feast and build up the joy.
Yeah. We want to celebrate Eastertide.
Right.
And we Sabbath every Saturday night anyway, so we thought, well, let's do a Sabbath companion to Eastertide.
So every week on Monday, we'll post a menu and a devotion or meditation or what have you for all of you guys to plan your Sabbath gatherings for the 4 weeks leading up to Easter.
Basically, it's everything you need to host a Sabbath Eastertide festival.
Yeah, so what's
sans the food. You have to buy your own food, but we'll tell you what food to buy.
Right. What does the menu include? What elements are provided in the menu?
I don't know what you mean.
Like entree, side, dessert, right?
Yeah, like a whole menu.
Whole menu.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the whole meal. So anyway, go check that out. It's going to be awesome. Table in the Wilderness.
Share it with your friends.
Yes. Share the intro video. Share the idea with your friends. Invite your neighbors, your family, your small group, whoever, over to your house and get pumped for Easter with us.
That's right.
Our Easter was robbed from us last year.
Actually, we still celebrated Easter.
We did. But
the government tried to.
The government tried to rob Easter, and Easter, I guess they let people, they let the government rob them of their Easter last year.
People let the government rob them of Easter? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yep, that's what I was trying to say.
Gotcha.
So I'm multitasking right now. We are driving.
This is going to be an interesting episode.
So all these...
It's very bright. That's why I'm very squinty.
All of these on the road episodes we do are always a little fun and interesting.
Cue the On the Road Again music right here.
On the road again.
We'll just play it. We don't have to.
On the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again. Life I love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again.
So anyway, that's what we're doing. That's why we're in the car. So welcome.
Gotta redeem the time.
Exactly. So let's see. To get into our topic, we are still in the Theology of Family series. We're probably nearing the end here.
I think pretty close. If you guys have questions
about any of the topics we've covered,
like marriage, family, children,
parenting,
singleness,
boys,
literally
girls.
whatever you've got, send it our way. We're going to be compiling questions over the course of the next couple weeks.
Yep.
And hopefully end this with a big Q&A.
There you go. Theology of Family Q&A coming up. Maybe we'll do a social media post and get questions, like a specific post.
Yeah, we could do that.
That'd be good. But you can comment on this episode, whether on YouTube or Facebook, whatever, and let us know your questions too. So that'll be good.
It's a very unflattering angle.
What?
It's like us with our, under the chin up.
Can your seat go higher? Hey, there's a guy and a horse and a little buggy racing around a track over here.
Welcome to Canada.
I guess so. So, we were going to talk about...
I think the last time we did, a ride-along video, we were, crossing the Brooklyn Bridge. So this is a little different.
Yes, that's true. Last time it was honks and screeching halts.
Yeah, probably cuss words in the background, people yelling out their window.
Yeah, and friendly fingers being shown to others.
I don't know how friendly they were, but they were being shown.
Now it will just be horses and
carriages.
snow-laden fields.
It's so bright, you guys. Like, I can
really
barely
is.
keep my eyes open.
Well, everything is snow-covered, and then it's actually a very clear day, so it just reflects right off. Yeah.
A little bit, maybe.
You're going to think I'm driving with my eyes closed, but I can see still.
Anywho.
Today, we are going to continue our Theology of Family series. And I think what we wanted to talk about on this episode are the small things that build big people.
Yeah, like random principles that actually make big differences in your kids.
That build up their character and build up them just as a godly, responsible,
fully functioning adult.
Fully functioning human.
Yeah.
So, okay, what's the first thing you want to bring up with this?
Okay, so one of the things that we did very early on, this is highly practical, is we just never let our children tell us no.
Yes, that's huge.
And that started from basically as soon as they were babies, like mumbling no to us, we would just pat them on the lip and just say, nope, you don't say that to mom, you don't say that to dad, it's yes ma'am, or yes sir.
Right, and they learn this early on because you have to tell them no when it's the finger in the outlet or something, you say no, and
they know what no means.
Yeah, so they know what no means early on, and that's why it's usually one of the first words.
Well, and I think we fall into a trap when they're really little because it's kind of cute when they tell us no, or when they have trouble communicating with us what they want.
Yeah. Like it's more personality than you expect them to have.
Well, and it's like, do you want this? No. Do you want that? No. Do you want this? No. And then like you're kind of playing that guessing game because your kids can't communicate super well.
Yeah.
But it's a dangerous game because it teaches your child that they can then tell you, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want that. Rather, you should like try and figure out when your child is having communication issues, like when your child is trying to communicate, I want a cup. I want a drink. Have them point what they want, point out what you want, and then when you know what they want a drink, they want a cup, say cup please, and make them say, or try and say cup please. And of course there'll be a little moment where they can't say what you want them to say, but they'll get it eventually. But then rather than perpetuating this no, I don't want that game, you're actually teaching them how to communicate properly.
You're training them in a positive way.
Yeah, it's a positive discipline.
Rather than you're training them by negation.
But you don't want to get into the habit of just letting them tell you no to everything. And obviously, like, we're not saying they can never say it. Like, if you said, hey, did you put your dishes in the sink? And they said no. Well, obviously, don't discipline them for saying that. But I'm just saying...
I can't tell my parents no.
Yeah, but there's a difference between, like, a child answering your question versus... like getting your very small child into a habit of just telling you, no, I don't want to do that, or no, I don't want that, or whatever, Well, and even that whole act, which we see it a lot, that whole act of do you want, does reinforce that the world revolves around them, which is not accurate of reality. Not accurate, yeah.
So it's not good to train your kids in that way anyhow.
And I think that even when our kids were very small, we would never let them, like... If for instance, like Eddie had left his plate at the table rather than put his plate in the sink, let's say around 3 or 4, rather than him telling us, no, my plate's not in the sink, no, I didn't put my plate in the sink, we would still have him say, not yet, Mom, because even that communicates, like, I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah, obedience
and will
is
act
assumed.
in obedience, yes.
Right.
Not yet, Mom. Or even if we offered our kids something, like, would you like another pancake at breakfast? Rather than saying no, we would say, okay, you need to say no, thank you.
Yep.
No, thank you.
And even with the dish thing, I remember telling them, like, no, but I will right now too. Like, not yet kind of communicates the same thing, but like, no, but I will right now. Because it's like they remembered, oh shoot, I didn't do that yet, so I'm going to answer honestly, no. But then that's not the end of the issue.
And that's clearly totally different than a child pitching a fit because the color sippy cup that you offered them is the wrong color cup. Like, no, I don't want the pink one, I want the purple one, or whatever. Yeah. Totally different.
And if there was any physical reaction with the answer no as well.
And
like,
you mean
no,
like stomping, like throwing themselves on the floor?
No, and hitting the cup, no, and shoving the food off. That was immediate. Like,
that was immediate discipline.
Yeah.
Yes. We did not ever tolerate physical outbursts.
Yeah, and all you're doing there is you are training your kid to have self-control, which is the fruit of the Spirit.
Right. And another thing, too, that goes along with that is not only did we never let our kids tell us no, but when we did give them what they did want, it always was met with a thank you, like a very happy, chipper thank you,
right.
Always. It should never be assumed that you get what you want. Like, even if you think mom's going to give me a cup because mom always gives me a cup, you still need to act in gratitude when she does give you that cup. So thank you, Mom.
Yeah. It's amazing how training little phrases, like training our speech, ends up training the whole person.
It does.
And I think that's lost on many people. And I don't even know if we fully understand it or understood it when we started, but you see it now. And when a kid doesn't respond with, such obedience, you realize that it is tone, their body, how they're obeying with the whole person.
Right.
And just that one thing of like, respond joyfully, yes ma'am. Like, it really does take the whole of their person to do that.
And you're training your kid to be a successful adult too. Like, so much of parenting really is just not about us. And we take things so personal.
Yeah.
Because people have even like made comments to us about like how our kids call us sir and ma'am, and like that's so foreign for so many people. And in today's society, like those kinds of terms like sir, ma'am, those kind of titles are almost seen as like backwards or old-fashioned or whatever. But our kids do address us with respect. And if you look at society, most kids don't talk to their parents with respect. Right. So I'd rather my kids be old-fashioned and polite than have them be like modern and current but terrible little monsters, you know?
And it's just training them to understand proper authority in their life.
Well, and where I was going with that, with like the sir, ma'am, if you really don't like those terms, whatever, I don't care.
Yes, dad, yes, mom.
Yes, dad, yes, mom. You can plug in what you want. I don't really care. But like, if you're more offended at the terms sir and ma'am than you are at the disrespect of your child, that problem lies within you.
Yep.
Because the disrespect of your child should matter way more to you than them calling you sir or ma'am or whatever, Yeah. That's
a deep character flaw.
Yeah, that's an acceptance issue with you, or pride. Like, I don't even know, but that's a real thing. And you're not actually caring about your child. You're caring about how you are perceived by other people. Yeah. And that's worrisome.
Yeah. And wanting to look cool is the downfall of so many right now.
Yeah, and you don't want your kid to pick up on like, I'd rather be cool than respectful. I'd rather be cool than like you're setting yourself up in so many ways for a really terrible teenager.
Yeah. You'd rather be a person known for how you respect God and the proper authorities in your life than someone who's cool.
Yep.
And accept
totally.
it. And your kids will pick up on it. Your kids will
the insecurities of the parents are manifest in the children. Totally.
Yeah, dude. Can't get away from that one.
Like, if you are an insecure parent, you are going to be projecting all of your insecurities into your kid, and you'll see all of it in your children.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is a fun thought as a parent, isn't it?
So you did kind of cover yes ma'am, yes sir. That's another little thing that I think builds big people. And
an acknowledgement of when you are talking to your child. This is another separate but kind of related issue, that a lot of times you can talk to your child but they don't respond to your, like, they can hear you. It's not that they didn't hear you, and maybe they're even obeying you. So you say to your kid, go put your shoes in the closet, and then they just go do what you're telling them to do or whatever, but they don't actually acknowledge what you say to them.
Right.
And that is always a disciplinable issue. Is that right? In our family?
Yeah, disciplinary.
And I don't mean like spanking, but like we pause and we'll rerun the whole scenario again and make them respond to us. Like, when mom says, go put your shoes in the closet, you say, yes, ma'am. And then that's you acknowledging that I'm talking to you, that I'm speaking to you, and you're telling me you're going to obey me. Like, we need to communicate.
Right. That's communication, is when a message has been sent and then it's understood by the person you were talking to by how they respond to you. Like, communication is a two-way road.
Yep.
And so you got to ensure that happens. And it is part of just being respectful too. And also they need to, or at least we always ask them to look at you.
Yep.
Look at me in the eyes. All of that is character training and building for the whole rest of their life.
Yep. Totally. So that was another small thing that I think actually does make a big difference.
Yeah.
It helps with expectations, like a child acknowledging you can't then turn around and say, well, I didn't hear you, Mom. Well, I know you heard me because you responded to me. So anyway, all that is very helpful.
Yeah, the other one that kind of goes along the lines with this, I don't know if you see that they're connected, but the expectation we have that if we call their name in the house, that they need to just come to us and just coming, Mom,
that's a big one.
Rather than yelling from across the house, what? Or something.
Yeah, that was a big one. And that was something I learned from my mom, actually. There were 5 of us growing up. And so if your name was called, you come right away. Yeah. Like, you drop what you're doing. If for some reason you really are tied up and you say, Mom, I'm going to the bathroom or whatever, and then that was obviously acceptable. But if you're just playing or reading or whatever it is that you're doing, if Mom says, hey, Eddie, come downstairs, it's coming. Yeah. Then I know you heard me. I know you're obeying me. But like, you come right away when you're called. Right.
Again,
that was a big one. Yeah.
Just good training and respecting proper authority.
Yep.
And just being respectful.
Yep.
And honoring.
Yep. Honoring your parents. Yeah. It's not like 5 minutes or I'll be right there. Like those things were just never allowed to be said. It's coming right away. Like I said, if there was a reason, like a real reason why you couldn't come right away, that's, understandable.
Like, I think the bathroom thing's a pretty good
The bathroom's
example.
usually a pretty good one, but...
or if they're in the middle of a chore you just ask them to do.
Yeah, like,
and then
we have a litter box, and so if Eddie's in the middle of the litter box, obviously, like, that's a whole process. So we let him finish his chore, and then he can come to us, but...
Yeah. Do I need to come
reason,
right now?
Yes. Within reason. Another... I think it's pretty big because I think actually the discipline that happens around a dinner table seeps into a lot of things. But I was going to say teaching your child to sit and eat with manners at a dinner table is huge. Yep. And this begins, once again, from a baby on. Like, you teach your child to sit in their high chair or their booster seat or whatever. We don't throw our food. We don't... We just act a certain way at a dinner table, and teaching them good manners right away is so important. And also teaching them to pray. I mean, literally, if your child can, do the little baby dance or whatever, they can fold their hands and pray. Like, if they understand motions and they understand, motions with words, which is basically what singing and dancing is, they can understand prayer. You fold your hands. We're going to sit down and pray at the dinner table as a family. All of our kids... I think we're probably around a year old when they were folding their hands and praying with us.
Even before that. But it's just another opportunity to help them train themselves in self-control, right? So they want to be squirmy, but they're being trained to sit still.
And they're going to want to, play with their food, and they're going to want to jump around and crawl under the table. That's what every 2, 3, 4-year-old kid does. And those are disciplinable moments, and they're hard moments for parents because if you are consistent, it's going to mean Mom taking, little James or Johnny or whoever into the bathroom, and maybe he needs a couple of spanks for disobeying Mom and Dad, and you pray and you say, okay, we're going to go sit at the table and we're all going to eat together as a family, and you're going to sit nice, and you're going to thank Mom for the food, and you're going to ask Dad to be excused before you leave the table. These are all just good manners and good things for kids to learn very early on.
Yeah, it's also part of loving your neighbor.
Yes.
Because then at the dinner table, when you have good manners, you aren't yelling and screeching. You aren't putting your elbows on the table up in the person sitting next to you's space. And all that kind of stuff is
and
loving
Mom
neighbor.
Has prepared dinner, and it's very rude for you to say, I don't like this.
Yes.
That was one thing you never allowed our kids to say. Our kids were never allowed to say, I don't like this. No. I can remember them getting a couple spanks for saying that because you always thought it was so disrespectful to insult Mom when she had made dinner for them. Yeah. she had fixed them dinner and they're going to appreciate it and be grateful. And the Bible says receive all things with thanksgiving. So we're going to receive this with thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We're not going to be fussy. We're not going to be whiny. We're not going to be picky.
Yes, I was going to say, I think this goes along with, I've never allowed the kids to be picky.
And this is a thing that I think dads need to be more involved in, because moms can get very exhausted by the end of the day. And if she spent all day with the kids, she spent all day fixing dinner, and now it's just going to be a fight to get the kids to eat dinner and whatever. Sometimes she's just like, I don't care. Give them chicken nuggets. I'll fix them a peanut butter and jelly. Yeah. Whatever it is, just feed them and put them in bed. I'm tired of it. And the dad needs to be the strong one oftentimes and say, no, if I need to engage in the fight here, I will.
Yeah.
But they're not going to treat you disrespectfully.
Right.
They're going to be grateful for what you prepared for them. We're going to teach them manners. We're going to teach them to be adults. That's dad needs to be more involved at dinner time, I think.
Yeah, and the picky thing early on, I totally told the kids early on, I said, there are kids in this world who do not have the luxury of being picky.
Yeah.
And you're
one of them.
And you're one of them for the same reason.
Yeah.
But there are kids who literally don't get the choice between 7 different cereals every morning or whatever. And I've seen kids in Afghanistan or in Africa, and they're grateful
for whatever.
And that's what pickiness is it's a lack of gratitude towards God and his blessings on us. Whether it's rice every day, like a lot of people in the world eat, or we are put in a country, in a place where we have the ability to have so many options. It doesn't matter your state. You train gratefulness for whatever it is that you have.
Right.
And picky.
Sorry, I'm like hitting my microphone, I'm sure. This itchy clavicle.
Being picky is the opposite of being grateful.
Right.
And so...
Well, and it's training them to be adults too, because now we're in a different phase and our kids aren't picky. There are very few things our kids won't eat.
Yeah.
And I'm pickier than they are, truthfully. But
you need to be grateful, baby.
I know I do. Take my own advice. But like, we are now being invited to like members of our church, people at our church, and they're serving our kids food. And I'm so grateful that we put in that hard work, because there's nothing more embarrassing than your kid saying, I don't like this, at someone else's dinner table. Like, I can remember that happening a couple times and I was mortified. And it's fine when they're 2, 3, 4, because everyone can be like, oh, they're just a funny little kid. Like, no one's really offended when a small child.
Excusable,
but it is terribly, disgustingly gross when an 11-year-old does that. And you just think, who trained you?
Yeah.
Like, who is raising you?
Exactly.
So do the hard work when they're little.
Yep.
And it does pay off. It's a lot of busy work when your kids are small. It's hard work. Like, it's exhausting work sometimes, but it's good work, and God prepared these works for you to walk in. Yeah. And you are building and training these kids to become adults, and you have high expectations. And if you have high expectations and you're consistent, your kids will meet the expectation. But the problem is that far too many parents don't have any expectations, and they don't actually think through all of these little habits that their kids have, like saying, no, Mom, I don't want that. Or I don't want that one, and they just like give in to their kids all the time, and they don't know what they're creating. Yeah, they don't know the monster they're creating.
Right, you're creating a self-serving,
me-focused,
meet all my wants, meet everything that I desire, and everything I do desire. You are gonna run around the house and say this, that.
Right, and that's the thing is like, Mom's not the slave. Mom is not the one making everyone's life cush.
Mom should say this, and that is it. Like, this is what you want. This is what you're going to get.
And so much of parenting is not trying to uncover who your child is. It's you forming who your child is.
So good.
Like, you are not, this is like actually a very pagan belief that your child is this person, and all you have to do is like peel back the layers to find the truest version of your child. That's paganism. Don't believe that. You are actually forming and shaping your child. So you're not their slave. You are actually their master, and it ought to look that way.
If you're a Christian, your child is a child of God. And so your job is to tell them what a child of God looks like.
You tell them what they want. You tell them what they like. You tell them what they need. You don't ask them.
Right. And that inner fortitude that comes from shaping them in this way is what we're saying creates big people, creates strong people, strong Christians, Christians who are not tossed to and fro by every emotion that comes.
Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that you can't ever give your kid their favorites. Like, if you know your kid loves chocolate cake, for their birthday, you don't say, you don't like chocolate cake, you like vanilla cake, you're getting vanilla. No, like, obviously be a good mom. Like, as Christians, we want to lavish good gifts on our children. Clearly, that's what God does with us. He gives us good gifts all the time.
Yeah.
But God doesn't give us gifts to crush us.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if your kid likes, so I guess this would be a good example. If your kid likes a certain drink, right, orange juice, what we're saying is, if the kid just says, I want orange juice, and you go, okay, rather say, okay, instead, Johnny, say, Mom, may I please have some orange juice?
Yeah.
And you're just training them that proper, respectful, honoring way of asking for it is what they want or like or whatever.
And this is how you'll know where your kids are at. If you don't have orange juice, if you say, oh, we don't have any orange juice this morning, Johnny, and your kid freaks out, you need to stop giving your kid orange juice. And it's not because orange juice is bad. It's because your child thinks they're owed orange juice.
Right. Yeah. If they don't have the flexibility to, then maybe milk. Please, Mom. Please, can I have some milk, Mom?
I mean, but you got some work there. Like,
yes. Yeah. If there's
you need to stop catering
reaction
to them.
To denying them something they're asking for, there's a lot of work to be done for sure.
Anyway, we are at our destination, so we have to go. We'll put out a couple more of these, and then we'll go to our Q&A. If you have any questions, or if we were unclear, once again.
Yeah, or if you have like an example, and you're like, hey, so in this situation,
what would you do?
What would you do, or like, how would you implement these things you're trying to tell us to? Send us a message, please, because we know that everyone's life can be a little different, and every kid's different. But there are basic principles here that are biblical that I think Christians should be a lot more proactive in the way that they parent and not always reactive.
Yes. And to actually think through a lot more than what we do. Like, so much of our life, we just don't think through. We just kind of are on autopilot.
Oh, before we go, I just wanted to say, too, you were kind of doing it with the whole, we're not trying to uncover the true person in our kid. Remember biblical anthropology here. We're all sinners from birth. And so without influences from outside in, your kid is just a sinner, and they're just going to sin naturally.
They're prone to sin,
They are prone to that way. But grace comes from the outside in, and that comes through godly parents, through the life of the church, through sacraments, through all these things come from the outside onto a person. That's how grace happens. And so that is your job. Your job is to implement those things from the outside to restrain the sinful nature and
to train them out of it.
Train them out of it, and by God's grace, shape and form them, like what Ericha was saying. Right. So that's I wanted to make sure I get that out.
All right.
So
good.
Anyway, thanks for joining us on the road. Theology of Family, Awakening Reformation Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and it was beneficial. Again, send us a message if there's something aching you right now. So anyway, thank you again for listening. Love you guys. Be immovable, steadfast, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor is not in vain. Until next time, get woke.